This is Unit 5H. It deals with lenses. Now the first thing to realize is that everything reflects, and it reflects in absolutely all directions. So here we have a source of light. It could equally be something that's reflecting light. And as I said, it goes off in every conceivable direction in all dimensions. Now, the direction we're most concerned with here is the one that happens to hit the eye of the observer here. Now, even on a short distance like this, because this is so small, the light is effectively parallel when it reaches the eye. So in theory, nothing can be completely parallel, but it's incredibly close. But it's important to remember that these rays of light came from the same spot, and the lens is bringing them back together again to form an image. So light is going off in all directions, and the lens is bringing it back to one point, and we call that point the principal focus. So the principal focus is the point, or the distance, the focal length, when light is parallel. We'll see what happens when it's not parallel in a second. So the lens here happens to be obviously a human eye, but it could be glass, it could be all sorts of substances. The fatter it is, the stronger the bending power, also the denser it is. So this distance here tells us something about the power of the lens. So the greater the power, the shorter this distance is. And this shape here is called a convex lens. Now in this slightly different example here, the object has been brought closer, so it's still obviously diverging when it reaches the lens. But in this case, the lens is powerful enough to bring it to a focus again. You'll notice it's not the principal focus, it's a bit further there. Now, if we put a screen here, like a cinema screen, the image would be projected onto the screen, and we call that a real image, as opposed to a virtual image, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, if we want to know where this focus is, we actually only need two rays. They're the ones shown in the solid line here. The dotted ones there are just to sort of confirm what's going on. Now, this one here, we said it goes off in all directions, so therefore one must be parallel. So we can see here it's parallel, so by definition it goes through the principal focus. We can go trace the line through here, off here to the right. Now another line we can consider goes through the optical center here, and that is also interesting and also predictable because it does not refract, it does not change its direction. And where those two cross, we get our image forming. Now, if we move our object closer in still, our lens now isn't powerful enough to stop it diverging. So here we can see on the other side both the red and the yellow are still diverging. So that's never going to produce a real image on the right hand side here. They're always getting further and further apart. But if we have a lens here, the lens can bring them back together and put them on a retina or on a film. Now our brains then, which don't really understand refraction, project backwards. These dotted lines are not real ray lines, but they're kind of what the brain sees, and we get a virtual image, so an image that can't be projected on a screen, and in this case is actually larger, so it has a magnifying effect, and the degree of magnification is simply expressed as a number times 3 times 4 and so on.